Did you know that every summer the Eiffel Tower grows by at least 6 inches because of the expansion of the iron? Amazing, right? Hi lovelies, I'm Christina and today I am giving you my May wrap-up. In May I read the total of 5 books. 4 of them I read on my Kindle and one of them is a graphic novel. So let's get to it. The first book I read in May was I'll Meet You There by Demetrios. This was actually my buddy read for April, so I was a little late. But I was reading this with Kathryn. I will link to her channel down below so you can go and check her out. This is the story of Skylar, who is a girl living in a small town. She can't wait to get out and to start her education in San Francisco, I think it is. And then her mother loses her job and she's kind of torn between the future that she really wants and the people that she loves. And her mother is really self-destructive. Then the other part of the story is Mitchell, who is 19, and he's been to Afghanistan where he lost his leg. The story is really how Skylar and Mitchell help each other through everything and how they live their lives in this little town and where they go from there. I thought it was a really good story. The characters were really well developed, and I thought it was interesting talking to Kathryn, who was my buddy read, because she'd been in the military as well, and she told me that the way that they talked about post-traumatic stress and about the military was really realistic, and I like that, but they actually write it realistically when they are talking about such a delicate subject as war and stuff like that is. And it also dealt well with her mother being an alcoholic and really struggling with anxiety and just, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book was sent to me by Patchwork Press via NetGalley for reading and giving an honest review. So thank you so much, Patchwork Press. Magic, Dark and Bright. This is the first book in the Asylum series, written by Jenny Adams Perinovic. I'm not sure how you pronounce that correctly, so if I butchered that name, I'm really sorry. It is the story of a young girl named Amelia. She's been seeing a ghost outside of her house for quite some time, and she really wants to help this ghost out. And suddenly she hasn't seen this ghost for a while, and then she turns up again at the same time as Charlie, a boy, moves into the McAllister house. The McAllister house has been known for the old woman living there and people talking about her being a witch. And when he shows up, the ghost then appears again, and Amelia tries to contact the ghost. Then suddenly all hell breaks loose because there are girls that suddenly disappear and show up in the river one after the other, and she finds out that this actually has happened before. And it is a fantastic story about witchcraft and ghosts and teen anxiety and love, and I just really enjoyed it. I flew through it, and it was a really good start. I'm not sure if this is going to be a long series or if it's a trilogy. The next book was sent to me by Sourcebooks Landmark via NetGalley as well, so thank you so much to Sourcebooks Landmark and to NetGalley. It is The Far End of Happy, written by Kathryn. This is the story of Ronnie and the day that her and her husband is going their separate ways. They have 2 children together, sort of a farm and everything. And if I remember correctly, she's staying at the house and he's moving out. The story starts out with her husband showing up, drunk out of his mind, with a shotgun and threatening to kill himself. And it goes to be a really suspenseful story where he borders himself up, threatening to kill himself, and Ronnie gets out of there, but she then tells the story of their marriage, how they came to that point where they're at, and all the difficulties through the marriage and with his mental health and everything. So it was really interesting. It was dark and brutal, but still such an amazing read, and Ronnie as a character was really strong. This story is also based on true events that happened to the author as well, so that made the story even more impactful. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I have a book that was sent to me via NetGalley from Simon & Schuster. This is The Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll. And this is the story of Ani Finelli. What we really get to know about Ani in the beginning of the story is that she experienced something that was really publicly humiliating when she was a teenager, and we don't really know what. But when we meet her in the story, she's really successful working as a writer for a magazine. She has an expensive wardrobe. She has a super perfect, popular boyfriend. And you have this past of hers that is threatening to bubble up to the surface and ruin everything. And we then get to see Ani going sort of back in time, talking about what happened and visiting the places where it happened. It's really hard to review this book because I don't want to spoil you. There is a big twist in this book, and I wouldn't say that it took me completely by surprise. I did have a vague feeling of what it could be, but still, when it happened, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. From starting out as feeling like a light-hearted read with a dark undertone, it really went into some really dark places, and it was brutal, it was honest, and I like that Jessica Knoll made Ani into a character that wasn't necessarily really relatable or even likable, but I still found Ani to get a special place in my heart. She was just so honest. I appreciate the brutal honesty of this book, and highly recommend if you do want something that is quite unique and quite different. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I have a graphic novel, and wow, this novel, I don't even know where to begin. It is The Sculptor by McCloud, and I need to show you the cover under the dust jacket as well because it's stunning. There you have David, the main character, and the woman that he meets. It is the story of David, who's been an up-and-coming artist who suddenly see everything just fall apart, and he doesn't know where to go. He's sitting in a cafe drinking drunk out of his mind on his birthday, and then suddenly his uncle shows up and they start talking, and then David realizes that this uncle that he's talking to, he's dead. So why is he here? And then he offers him a deal where he promises that he will be successful as a sculptor, but if he takes that deal, he only has 200 days to live. He takes the deal and things start to happen, and then of course he meets a girl, and that complicates things. It's the first graphic novel that's ever made me cry, and it just read like it turned into a beautiful movie in your mind. It's all drawn in a blue undertone, which really makes it unique, and you know, this one was definitely my May favorite. I would highly recommend this to anyone who likes reading graphic novels. Even if you are wanting to get into graphic novels, I think this would be a good way to start because it's just so gripping. It's such an amazing story and so beautiful made illustrations. It's a work of art, and highly recommend this. And needless to say, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, and I would have given it a 6 out of 5 stars if there was a possibility to do that. It's even blurred by Neil Gaiman. What more do you need? That turned into looking like a puny little stat, but Kindle! That was the books that I read in May. I hope you enjoyed this. Tell me what books you read in May and what was your favorite. And don't forget to follow me on my social media. I will link to all of it down below. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye! It's even blurred by Neil Gaiman. Wow. Hello. guys.